Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser, and I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. It's Tuesday, so you know what we're doing. We're talking about what books that I think you should read along with me that come out this new comic book day, the 12th of May, 2021. So to find out what I'm reading, check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Clerical work before I click over to the pull list number 1. If you haven't entered the 1,000 sub giveaway, remember you've got until the end of May to do so. The video should pop up here. I've got a short coming out some point this week when I can figure out fancy editing to show off all of the prizes that I've pulled and then other people have been gracious enough to donate. And second, if you're interested, don't forget about my Patreon, which is down in the description below. That gets you some extra entries into the giveaway and other Patreon giveaways, that I do each month. So without further ado, let's see what I'm reading. So first up from Scout Comics is Black Cotton number 2. Normally I don't pull a lot of Scout books because I get them in my in my Scout box anyway. But Black Cotton is so good that I want as many copies as I can gobble up. So we're dealing in a world where the social dynamics between black and white are flipped. Every time I hear Hawkins in an interview use the phrase, a minority white woman, I just kind of shudder at the idea of that. Every time that I reread through issue number 1 and see the White Lives Matter signs pop up, it's just jarring to me. But it's interesting to look at this book, which is an intersectional tale of race and capitalism, because as they both say in interviews, the only color that matters is green, to kind of look at the world that they are continuing to build. Next from IDW is Kanto and the City of Giants number 2. Number 1's in my to-read pile still. Next from Marvel is Children of the Atom number 3. Number 2 is still in my to-read pile. Future State Gotham number 1 is up next. The only reason that I'm pulling this is because I've been intrigued with what has been happening in both Batman and Detective Comics, and people have told me that I should check this one out. So we'll see how I feel about Future State Gotham number 1, even after I, multiple times said I'm not reading Future State titles. This one snuck up on me. You win, DC. Next up from Image Comics is Geiger Number 2. Number 1 was super amazing in terms of looking at the cave where humanity was attempting to hide, looking at the shelters, looking at things that existed before the war. I'm still trying to get my hands on that second print glow-in-the-dark cover, which is just sexy as hell. So if you got one, hook your boy up. But this has been a really good book, and I'm ready for number 2. Next, normally I'd say it's time for that Bemis drop, but I don't have a video that I haven't played yet. So we'll see if I find something new to hop in for my dude Max Bemis, who wrote Heavy number 6. If not, just imagine me dancing to wow, I can get sexual too from Say Anything. We'll see. But this is the beginning of the second arc. I'm excited to see what they are doing after the actions of Bill attempted to unwind part of the universe or the time stream, which I think is what has happened. But I'm excited. I really enjoyed the first arc of this. I think the art is fun. I think the story is fun. I think looking at the dynamics of Bill and Slim in terms of a dirty pair working together is quite intelligent, and I just like the way that Bemis is writing the series. Next up from Dark Horse is The House of Lost Horizons number 1. Looks like a weird mystery lock and key kind of style of book, so I'm definitely intrigued to check it out. That's all I know about it. Next from Image is Ice Cream Man 24. You know what it is. That cover is kind of fun. I like the idea of trying to raise $3.99 to save a man's life. But it's Ice Cream Man. It's good. Next from DC is The Joker number 3. I really like number 1. Number 2 was so-so to me. So I want to see what happens in number 3. That this will be the make or break book for me in terms of whether or not I keep pulling it. I think the art is fun. The story is just kind of meh to me. And maybe I still might be on kind of a little bit of Joker overload from 3 Jokers and Joker War from a couple months ago. Next from Image is Carmen number 3. I really think Guillaume March has created an amazing series here that I'm intrigued by looking at, you know, the Angel of Death in Carmen. Looking at the woman who has recently discovered that she's died and how she's handling it. That this is just intriguing. The art is very, very interesting. That this is a book that I think, if you like weird, random tales of death and you're not off-put by nudity in your comics, then you should check it out. Next up from Mad Cave Studios is Knights of the Golden Sun number 12. I'm 2 issues behind here, but I still really like this series in terms of looking at how they bounce back. The angels bounce back against the demonic forces when God is away from Providence. Next up from Aftershock is Maniac of New York number 4. This series has been insane in terms of who died and how they died at the end of issue number 3. I think this is going to set a lot of things in motion for how book 4 continues to go on, but the degree of intensity is quite high at this moment. Next from Mad Cave is Nottingham number 3. This book has just absolutely crushed it. I told you also this book has been amazing in terms of a film noir, alternate universe kind of Robin Hood story. You should check it out, and I should have mentioned this at Knights of the Golden Sun, but if you want to get whatever printing of books number 1 and 2 that you can get, go to madcavestudios.com and use the code POSER10, and you'll get 10% off of that and Knights of the Golden Sun and any of the other hotness that is coming out from Mad Cave Studios. Next from Boom is Proctor Valley Road number 3. I don't remember if I read number 2 or not, but I really liked issue number 1. Next from Aftershock is Project Patron number 2. I was intrigued by the premise of number 1, that the body and the identity of the patron changes, and that people know that if they take on the identity, it increases how quickly they may die. Very intriguing story. The art was pretty good for a kind of classic riff on a superhero tale, but very intriguing. Next up is from AWA is The Resistance Uprising number 2. I like this. I think Straczynski is doing good things with this series. So I want to see what happens as the Resistance continues to come together. Next up from Aftershock is Scout's Honor number 5. I think this is the last book. If not, there's one more. Y'all know how much I've enjoyed this series. We're starting to see if Kit can really out the true reason or method of how Hancock died. I liked watching her fight the giant spider. I liked watching her go against the other men who were like, "You're an abomination," to Hancock's scouts in the trial of the eagle, blah, 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 blah. So it's been interesting to watch the evolution of Cat as a character. Next up from IDW is Sea of Sorrows number 5. I feel like this book was supposed to come out like 2 weeks ago and got pushed back. But we finally get to figure out what the end game is between the crew looking for Golden Siren is. I've loved this series. I think Rich Duick has written something interesting. I think both the artist and the colorist and their use of darkness in this book is something that amazes me. Next up from Boom Studios is Seven Secrets number 8. I didn't mind number 7. Interesting story. Let's see if Casper can continue to protect the secrets. I might go even faster through the last couple of books because my mouth has hurt for talking for 10 minutes. Silk number 3, 1 and 2 were very intriguing. You should read the series. Silver Coin number 1 was interesting. Let's see how things look as it bounces around from writer to writer. I don't know who the writer is on issue 2, but I really like what Chip Zdarsky did to set up the universe in number 1. Space Bastards number 5, hilarious, high intensity, high octane. I want to see what the hell Sharptoberfest is. I'm excited for this one. Spider-Woman 12, I like seeing the evolution of Jessica Drew in issue 11 as she's dealing with the stuff after Octavia Spencer and her mother. Time Before Time is an Image number 1 that I'm checking out. Can't tell you very much about it. Black Mask, White number 1. I'm excited for this because it's the sequel to Black that I really enjoyed. I want to see how it plays with the dynamics of the two universes. Next from Marvel is X-Corp number 1, another new X-Men book. We'll see how this goes, but I like how it starts with the line Krakoa is for closers. Only because I play the coffee is for closers clip in my auction when people don't sell things. X Factor 9, I'm behind. You Promised Me Darkness number 2. Number 1 didn't show up at my LCS, but I've got a copy coming in from 616, so we'll see if number 2 comes in, or I've got to pick up more of it. And as always, we look at our scout books that come in. I already talked about Black Cotton, that if you are not reading this book, there's something seriously wrong with you. I love this book. I think both anybody that I've seen interview the creative team for this has done an amazing job. That Comic Burrito and Girls Talking Comics, Aaron's interview sticks out to me as just being amazing in terms of talking to the guys who wrote this. And then Stake number 3 is out. I've read the first one. I've read Just Me, which was the Kickstarter one, and I haven't read issue 2 yet, but we'll see if I can write that by the time my next Scout box comes. So that's what I'm reading this week. Is there anything that I missed out on, anything that I shouldn't add that you think I should try and pick up if it's at my shop? If so, let me know in the chat over here. If you're in the rewind, let me know in the comments down below. But as always, y'all, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.
Thank you for being a friend.
And from my heart, I want to give you a big Bronx yeah. Yo, big things soon to come. Keep doing your thing. Come.
And I want to thank you. Thank you, silence.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.